So the video I watched was Hans Rosling's "How a Washing Machine Changed the World," and some things that I found interesting were that he compared it to different parts of the world and how some people in rural areas still wash their clothes by hand, and then compared it to people of a higher socioeconomic background and how they have washing machines and just the total difference that makes. Like, the people that had washing machines were most likely the people that went on airplanes and had electricity and had several different household appliances compared to those who did not have washing machines, who they were the ones that still cooked on like fire, and they didn't have electricity, and they lived below the $2 poverty line, which I thought was really interesting. And there's a lot more of those than the really high class socioeconomic people that have a lot of energy that they use. And I also found it very interesting that the people that had more money, I guess you could say, they're the ones using more energy, but there was less of them. So the people that really needed the energy didn't get to use them, which I also found that can make a real big impact on the world and how, like, most of it functions. And just, I think it was really interesting. He made the correlation between how the world views them differently, and I thought was interesting, and how it's the people that didn't have washing machines more likely were never going to get an education because they were more of survival kind of people, and how if by putting washing machines in your house, that increases the probability of you getting an education because it you have less time to you have more time to spend on other things like reading and writing and getting an education, other than spending the whole day washing your clothes, which I thought that was a good point he made. And then the other video we watched was Cheryl Woodon's and how the world is different, and how, like, she made a really big point of how how girls, men and women, are viewed differently throughout the world, and how there are still a lot of slaves in this world, and most of them are sex trafficking because they take women, young girls, from rural areas and traffic them into different countries because I guess it's just easier and they need more money to do that. But they didn't. There's 800,000 slaves in the world today, which is a 100% increase than it was in the 1780s. I also thought it was interesting that even in developed countries, he made the comparison about how in Saudi Arabia they separate the men and women, and they had the Bill Gates come and talk to him about just technology advances, and someone asked, like, how will Saudi Arabia be able to, like, catch up with the rest of the world, and he's like, well, you need to use the other half of your resources, just because gender equality is not prevalent in that country. So I thought that was pretty cool that he kind of just said that out there. Yep. So yeah, the main point of her TED Talk was just how women aren't viewed equally, but if you give women the same amount of chances as you give men, then women would be more successful, like going to school and doing things like that.